What's up guys, KWJ3 Austin here, and welcome to my review of Sonic Mania. This review will contain spoilers, so I'll give anyone who hasn't finished the game yet 5 seconds to close this video. Sonic Mania is the direct sequel to Sonic and Knuckles, which came out in 1994. It ignores the events of Sonic the Hedgehog 4, since Sega and most fans agree that that game didn't really cut it as a classic Sonic title. Is Sonic Mania any better? I believe it is by miles, so let's discuss why. Depending on who you choose to play as, the game begins either with Sonic and Tails flying their plane towards Angel Island, or Knuckles relaxing on Angel Island. In both cases, they come across Robotnik and a new group of minions known as the Hard-Boiled Heavies, unearthing a gem called the Phantom Ruby. This ruby holds immense power and teleports everybody to Green Hill Zone, where the game begins proper. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles then make their way through 8 remix zones and 4 original zones, battling through old and new enemies as they try to stop Robotnik and the Hard-Boiled Heavies from using the Phantom Ruby to take over Little Planet from Sonic CD. It makes me happy that the story is told with no dialogue, and you only get a sense of what's going on through small cutscenes at the end of levels. It's just like Sonic 3 and Knuckles in that regard. I'm also happy that the story isn't too dark and feels just right for a Genesis-era Sonic game, unlike some of the more recent games which are just way too bleak and dreary to have any real charm. Don't get me wrong, they can still be fun at times. Except for you, Sonic 06 and Shadow the Hedgehog. Grrr! But back to Sonic Mania, it makes me feel like a kid again, playing a game where the story is a very small part of the whole experience, yet it's still fun to watch the little comedic interactions happen between the good guys and bad guys. And let's be honest, watching Sonic fly into Oil Ocean from that gun in Mirage Saloon is just so cool. Oh yeah, that's another thing, and something I kind of don't like. Not all of the levels have a transition to the next one. Sometimes the characters will just suddenly end up somewhere else, and I'm not talking about the Phantom Ruby teleporting them. I'm talking about just fading in and out of black. I'm not sure if the developers forgot to put them in or what, but it does kind of break the flow in a way. Maybe they'll add them in a patch later, we'll see. That's about all I have to say in terms of story, so let's move on to the gameplay. Ever wonder what Flying Battery would look like in the middle of a thunderstorm? Or what would happen if Oil Ocean was set on fire? How about canoes in Hydrocity Zone? This game answers all those questions and more. But before we talk about actual gameplay mechanics, I want to talk about the graphics. The graphics take elements from all of the classic Sonic games, only they're more vibrant and smooth here. Although they can be filtered in the settings to look more dulled down like an actual Genesis game, there are some visual effects here and there that are just too elaborate to have been possible on the Genesis. Now, if this game had come out on the Saturn, that might have been a different story. But hey, better late than never. The 8 remix zones are Green Hill, Chemical Plant, Flying Battery, Stardust Speedway, Hydrocity, Oil Ocean, Lava Reef, and Metallic Madness. All of them retain the general look that they had 20-some years ago, while also incorporating new paths, enemies, and gimmicks. The 4 new zones are Studiopolis, Press Garden, Mirage Saloon, and Titanic Monarch. Studiopolis is like a movie studio, with screens set up everywhere, little bugs with cameras like the paparazzi, and even giant popcorn machines. Press Garden starts out as a newspaper plant spewing Robotnik's evil propaganda, which then turns into a beautiful winter wonderland with colorful trees and flowers, all topped with snow. Mirage Saloon is a really cool desert level, which has more of a Wild West theme than Sandopolis ever did. There's a train with Robotnik's big nose on it, bars which have stools that you can spin on, and giant piano keys that play different notes as you step on them. Titanic Monarch is Robotnik's new base of operations, which brings back the infamous electric balls from that one bonus stage in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Remember the ones that rotated and you had to hop from one to the other to get to the top? Well, if you weren't good at it back then, tough luck, because you'll have to do it here. A lot. There is one more level called Egg Reverie Zone. The way you get to it is just like the Doomsday Zone in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. If you have all 7 Chaos Emeralds and you're playing as Sonic, you'll go right to it after Titanic Monarch. As Super Sonic, you fight against both Robotnik and the Heavy King, the leader of the hard-boiled heavies, for control of the Phantom Ruby. It's an enjoyable boss fight, but it kinda sucks that you can only play it as Sonic, not Tails and Knuckles. Of course, you could just cheat and do level select, but that takes the challenge and the canonicity out of it. Each zone, aside from Egg Reverie, has 2 acts, with a boss fight at the end of both, just like Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Like the levels themselves, some are remixed versions of past bosses, and some are original. And then they throw in a curveball by not having an actual battle, but rather a game of Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine at the end of Chemical Plant Act 2. That right there had to be the biggest surprise of my first playthrough. I loved Mean Bean Machine as a kid, and getting to experience that again and in such a unique and unexpected way was absolutely incredible. And you can also unlock Mean Bean mode for 2 players to go head to head by completing bonus stages. The bonus stage, accessed by jumping into the stars of a signpost, is Blue Sphere from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, only instead of either a Chaos or Super Emerald, you'll get either a Silver or Gold Medallion. Silver if you don't get a perfect in the level, and Gold if you do. These medallions are used to unlock bonus features such as Mean Bean mode, Debug mode, Sound Test, Sonic's Insta Shield from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Super Peel Out from Sonic CD, and a new mode called And Knuckles, which allows you to have Knuckles tag along in the stage, even if you're playing as Knuckles to begin with. The special stages are modeled off of the ones in Sonic CD, with their own original gimmick of Mach speed buildup. There's a UFO flying around the stage carrying a Chaos Emerald, and you have to chase after it. By collecting blue spheres, you increase the meter at the top of the screen, which makes you go faster when filled. You also have to collect rings to give yourself more time. While both of these are important, I think the most important thing is making sure you stay on the track. Grass will slow you down, and hitting bombs will make you lose 10 seconds of time. Also, if you fall into a bottomless pit, it's an instant loss. There's also Time Attack mode, where you can speedrun all the stages minus the boss fights. And there's Competition mode, which I can't play because I don't have 2 controllers and it's local multiplayer only. I'm not sure what it's like, but I'm just gonna give it the benefit of the doubt and say it's awesome. As for new moves, there's only one that they added called the Drop Dash. It can only be used by Sonic and not by Tails and Knuckles, which kind of sucks. But either way, it allows you to go right into a spin dash after landing from a jump, rather than having to take the time to rev one up. Honestly, I didn't use it all that much. It's not required anywhere in the game, so I only did it a couple times for fun. Of course, everybody has their own tastes. Anyway, that's it for gameplay. You know I can't finish this review without talking about the glorious music. Much like the gameplay, it's all about nostalgia, bringing back memories from the Genesis days. Though the overall quality is more polished and crisp this time around, it still has the same basic sound. T. Lopes is the composer of Sonic Mania, and while he already had experience doing video game remixes for YouTube, he takes his skills to another level here. The extra layering and ambience he gives to old tracks makes them feel new again. Not to mention the actual new stuff, which is just so damn good! Studiopolis Act 1 is one of my favorites. I love how it starts with and just has a kind of groove to it. It almost sounds like those corny opening tunes for news stations, but with a lot more charm and excitement to it. Another favorite is Titanic Monarch Act 1. Though it's not actually the final level of the game, I think it's better at leading up to a final battle than the Act 2 theme. Something about it just gives me the chills every time I hear it. And the fax machine sound brings back memories of when my dad used to use one when they were still a thing. Ah, the 90s. And the Super Sonic theme, by far the best one out of all the Sonic games, and I say that without shame. This track is just purely epic. It's like raw and unrefined energy bottled into music form. The guitar reminds me of something Crush 40 would have done around the Sonic Heroes era, and when the violin works its way down to meet that bass line, my god, it's like I found all the Chaos Emeralds myself. Really, every song in this game is worthy of a listen, even when you're not playing the game. That's why the soundtrack is being released on vinyl, but that only has the new tracks from the game, none of the remixes. Thankfully, you can listen to everything in the DA garden once you've collected enough medallions. Now, I have to give a rating, and you know what? It's so hard to decide between a 9 or a 10. I mean, Sonic Mania is absolutely incredible, and honestly my favorite game of 2017. Well, that I've played at least. I want so badly to give it a 10, but I can't ignore the few minor issues that are in fact there. So, I'm gonna give Sonic Mania a 9 out of 10. I know there's a ton of things about this game that I didn't mention in this review, but to talk about all of it would take forever. Oh, and I'm sorry to say, but don't expect every review I do now to have footage in the background. This one did, only because the game is on PC, and I figured, why not? Unfortunately, I still don't have anything to record from my Xbox One with at the time of this video. I can at least safely say that this game will go down as a classic for pretty much all Sonic fans. Let's hope Sonic Forces, which comes out on November 7th, is a classic as well. Hopefully I'll review that after it's released. So thank you all for watching, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. So until then, peace out. Oh, before I forget, that beautiful intro animation nearly made me cry the first time I saw it. And I still can't watch it to this day without a huge smile on my face.